Danish powerhouse led by Carrigan, the Astralis core lineup has been a fixture in CSGO since early 2015. Despite regularly featuring in the latter stages of flagship tournament, disappointments at Counterpit and DreamHack Masters Malmo led to an inevitable change. With Astralis competing for the major title using Glaive in place of Cajun B's replacement Kirby, nobody is quite sure what they have in store for us here at ESL 1 Cologne. One thing is for certain though, the Danes cannot be underestimated. With the firepower of Device and Dupree, supported by the ever-trusted Zipex, it's no surprise that Astralis' few offline losses come from the likes of Fnatic, NIP and the Brazilian SK Gaming roster.
Game 1 is about to kick off, and as Joe Miller did just say in that video, a team that cannot be underestimated. It's Astralis, albeit with a stand-in going up against Gambit. And I'm just going to get the analysts here at the NVIDIA analyst desk, their opening thoughts before we start talking. I want to dive into the vetoes quite soon, but first, Yanko, can you set the scene for this one? Because on paper, I'd read this, if I didn't know about the roster swaps and the drama, I'd be like, this is an Astralis win, hands down. Is it still the case?
I think it is.
Okay.
Astralis is still the team that has made it out of the groups at every major with the core of this lineup, while Gambit, on the other hand, is a team that has some of the players of the former Hellraisers lineup, but with this particular core of the team, they did make it to the last major, but since then we haven't seen a whole lot from them. So in my eyes, they're still the underdog. A silver lining for them is that the 3 of their best players played a really good game yesterday. So if that continues, they have a fighting chance here.
Now, Duncan, we always say anything can happen in a best of one.
Yep.
The map vetoes, how are we going to somehow spin this in Gambit's favor?
I think this time around, Astralis, I think, intelligently banned yesterday, and I think they're going to do the same again. I think they're actually going to go the NIP approach. I think they're just going to vote out the best maps of the guys from Gambit, because Gambit are only really strong on 3 maps. It's Cache, Cobble, and Train. And so basically, it already seems like Astralis have gone back to their old ways and not wanting to play Cobblestone anyway, so I already think that was going to be tossed.
Okay.
Train, maybe they'd consider. So we're going to start with the Cobble one. Overpass is the perma ban of Gambit anyway. I'm thinking probably just go straight to the Cache ban here, because it's also a map Astralis banned yesterday. They look like they haven't wanted to play it so much, so I'm figuring that's going to come in at some point. The question for me is the second ban for the Overpass for the Gambit guys. So it's actually going to be Nuke they've used up here. Mirage ban, it's fairly standard. The problem here is if it ends up being a possibility between Overpass, because I'm thinking it might be Overpass or Dust2 now, assuming we get like a Train ban. I think those maps both heavily favor the guys from Astralis. So it's going to be Train or Dust2. Yeah, Train or Overpass is obviously always banned with Gambit. So actually, I think in the end, this has been a better veto for the guys from Astralis, because if it had come down to Train, that's actually a better Gambit map.
Sure.
I think Gambit starting, it doesn't really matter the side you pick on Dust2. I think it's one of the maps that matters the least, So I've got to favor Astralis here.
We used to sing their praises on Dust2 as well, Yanko.
I mean, we saw it yesterday as well. I think that Astralis is one of those teams that was early on was really good at Dust2, but then people figured them out, especially on their city side. I feel now with a stand-in, this is a map that suits them perfectly. So to speak, if it were Train, it would have been maybe a better map for Gambit, but it's one of those maps that Astralis never wanted to pick, but they were really comfortable playing it if somehow they end on that map, right? So I feel that towards the end, between the 2 maps, Astralis would be comfortable on either one.
And these are the names below. Who was delivering yesterday? We've only seen the one map, but who was the kind of the faces to keep your eyes on?
I think Carrigan was mine, of course, bringing some really big plays, of which we haven't seen in a little bit from him. Being able to bring in quite a bit of it there and obviously helping out. But for me, I think looking at this match too, with the way that the veto ended up going, it's definitely still going to swing their way because of, I have similar thoughts about the way it actually ended up going in the Optic match yesterday too, because of the fact that now they do have these maps which they can perform really good on, one of which is Train, but now that gets out of the mix here and we don't really see any of Gambit's other good maps coming in, now they're going to be relying on those individual performances before, like we had to see yesterday, and that may not shine through as well.
And then on the other side of things, it is Gambit, Yanko. These faces you definitely will recognize, especially some godlike presences on the far left. But why don't you go ahead and highlight, just for me quickly, like these guys are 1 win away from making it to the Lanxess Arena, getting out of groups at a major. Like we need to put that into perspective. These guys have come quite far for what we would have expected.
Yeah, definitely. And for me, I would highlight Mo as a player to watch in this team, especially because he has to go up against Device. And Device is really mobile on the city side as the opera. He'll go for those aggressive pushes towards Cat as well. And I feel that Mo has to be on point because Dust2 is such an op-heavy map.
He has to be mobile too. No?
Why the bile, though?
Not even gonna acknowledge
As he
that.
said, device is mobile.
Yeah, but what would the bile part of the pun be?
As in, he's a bile. Yeah, you got me there. Okay.
And considering
We'll teach you, Alex.
I'm learning. I'm
Your
trying.
education
I
continues.
just want to be the cool
It's
like
okay,
you
it's still
guys.
early, Alex. It's first game of the day, but
Yeah.
for me, yesterday, Device was the main player for Astralis because he's that deceptive deceptive in a way that he ended the game with like 27 kills or something, but you would never, if you watch the game, you think, oh, he has about 15 to 20 kills, nothing special, because he's so consistent. He gets you a kill or two every round, and that's in the end what you want from your star players, for them to be super consistent, to always be in a position where they can give you advantages, and that's what makes it easier for the rest of his team to play, right?
Yeah, to me, Device is the most underrated superstar in the game because, like I said, I mean, you asked Blue what was his signature pick. He picked out the guy who won the flashy 1v2s and had the AWP kills, etc. The guy who dropped 27 kills, he did it in quiet fashion. He did just pick up those simple kills, but the whole thing is they're not so simple when you're talking about stacking 20 plus of those in a game. That's going to be the foundation from which you win the game when then someone gets a nice 1v2.
All right, well, I'd love to know your predictions, but it looks like the game is already going down. Our first game is ready. It's Astralis.
Astralis wins.
Astralis wins.
Okay, there you go. You heard your predictions.
Gambit.
Astralis wins and you Blue is an idiot. Let's go have a quick look. It's Dust2, and we're going to get to see what the Danes can do on Dust2. DDK and James are standing by.
Astralis wins. I think it's hard to disagree.
Yeah, especially with Karrigan AWPing. That's something that we saw the first half of last year when they won 2 of the 3 Face It Leagues, for example. Karrigan was beasting for them, in-game leading on maps such as Mirage, Dust2 as well. So I'm really looking forward to this one. You know, I'm a big fan of Mo as well, especially on this map. Again, I said on Twitter yesterday when Gambit are having a good game, he's a great AWPer to watch. So it's going to be a nice clash if Gambit can get off on the right foot, and I think they need to here against a very strong opponent in Astralis.
Right, so early on, Gambit have decided to go for some control of the upper dark area, and typically a lot of CT sides will put a lot of pressure on Catwalk, and they'll get a lot of information by having an aggression there, and typically you can see smokes from the Ts to deny that early in the round, but we're not actually seeing that from Astralis. They're playing more towards A at the moment, very passively in fact, gambling a little bit, and this is a problem because Dupree, he's got to get a lot of kills here, at least a couple to make this retake easier for his team, but he will get absolutely nothing. But Astralis are actually quite fast back into the B site, and the bomb might not go down too easily here.
Glaive and Karrigan outside at the moment, and Hooch has got a strong hold in the halls area as well. So this is looking difficult for Astralis. Device looking for flanks over towards short at the moment. Zipex coming in to help his team. Astralis still have the numbers here. You see the crossfire towards the door itself. No flashbangs, no nades. They need to come in raw. And Zipex goes down straight away. Space holding well as well. Oh, the knife onto Glaive, no less. So it's Karrigan, last man standing. He's in the site, doesn't have a kit though, and time is running out. Dozy can play the bomb, and he needs to because he doesn't have the health to go for the duel here. But he would get the frag regardless. There was one flash there for the CTs actually, but they didn't get much out of it. So Gambit do get the start that they need.
Yeah, actually, I'm surprised Astralis were able to get onto the B bomb so quickly because, you know, typically you're thinking with the stack there towards A is going to be an easier bomb site to actually retake as the CTs as opposed to B, where the Ts can really get or force the close range engagements and the choke points and so on. So normally, you know, you'd want to try to position yourself so that as the CTs you get the information, and Astralis were able to do that with a very passive setup. So props to them, but they couldn't close down the round when it came to hitting the shots. And now it's just down to the anti-eco, and Adren's going to be kicking it off pretty well as he'll take down Device straight away towards long, and that's a nice little bit of space that Adren is creating towards long, and Gambit can really build from this.
2 flashes and a smoke on the Astralis side. They haven't fully committed to this round in terms of money. We saw a forced buy in the second round from a CT team on Dust2 yesterday, but not so here from Astralis, especially Karrigan looking for the ore. But in the meantime, we see Gambit still just biding their time towards long. They want to play their range as much as possible here, obviously being on the anti-eco. That said, they've got Hooch on a Mac 10 and Dozier on a Tech 9, so those will have considerable damage fall off from these positions. And now Astralis going for a bit of a short push here, so Hooch's position, see if he can hold on to his weapons here. Bit of a crossfire coming in, but so far so good. 2 players remaining, nobody down yet for Gambit, so this is a good anti-eco so far. Glaive being baited out and traded. So fairly standard round there for Gambit, only losing 2 players, they won't be too concerned.
Yeah, and it's one of those spots on this map where if you as the T side on your anti-force by anti-eco can get some control along, even if the entire team for the CTs are stacking towards the bomb site, if you have the grenades, you're still going to be in a very favorable position. It's one of the best sort of anti-eco type strategies to run, or anti-force buy type strategies to run if you do it correctly with the grenades, and it's very hard for the CTs. So indeed quite standard result, and now it gets even easier for Gambit as they're up against a team which has even less than the round previous. Just a couple grenades and a P250. That's pretty much all the investment we'll see from Astralis in this one, so the expectation is very low. I'm curious if they'll try to get some aggression here to try to just isolate one of the T players to just at least get one frag, because that might be the best case for them as we get the opening kill there from Space. He's going to get his team straight onto the A bomb site.
Device has a chance to maybe steal a frag away from Dozier, both on pistols towards the long area, but Dozier's not going to overcommit in that position. Meanwhile, the rest of Gambit have A, so Space is actually coming in for the flank, so Device should be taken out very shortly. And again, you've got Adren just top mid there, using the range to clear up the remaining players, making sure there's no short flank coming in, but he could lose the AK here, and maybe that can be held on to, but Hooch, he's coming in quickly, and again, you've got that pincer movement from the T's, but the AK's not going to be safe just yet, although the chances are not high for Dupree. Space coming in, and maybe he'll get himself a little bit of an upgrade here going into the next round. So indeed, no AK saved here by the CTs, and we will come into the buy for Astralis. AWP should be coming out of the doors straight away.
No AK saved, but in actually picking up the 3 kills there in total, that more than makes up for it. You know, not being able to bring an AK into this round as Astralis have that buy anyway. So that was kind of a disaster towards the end, and we'll have to see how the impact goes in the future for Gambit, because of course, you know, losing so many guns when they shouldn't have, now their economy's kind of stretched. If they were to lose this round, they're going to be in a pretty awkward spot. So Astralis setting themselves up to get straight back in this one, but they must, of course, win this round to do so. And we will see a bit of an opening default from Gambit at the moment, just taking the kind of uncontested control of the map. Dark, or the tunnel area, down into Catwalk, outside long, and now starting to try to choke off some of these AWPing players, or well, the AWPing player, Carrigan, of Astralis on middle, so he's not going to be able to get a look in there. And we start to see Gambit making the move up to Catwalk, but what is the decision from them? They can still go towards A or B. They're not committed either way, but one thing they do need to make the decision is some information.
Speaking of which, Astralis, I was wondering how they were going to defend the A site. They've put Glaive in a boost position in the last 20 or so seconds. Dupree boosted him up there so they can have a defense towards B. And now you can see Gambit trying to identify what exactly is the play here from Gambit. What setup do they have? I mean, Glaive, he's got the unsilenced M4, so he will soon announce his position, but what can they do about it? Going for some spray, he can hide behind the box. There are 2 people, he can raise the alarm to his teammate, but he's going to get pincered as well on the B bomb site. That's Carrigan trying to get a shot, misses it though, and he's going to get taken down. That is the B bomb site lost.
Yeah, and it's going to be a very interesting 3 versus 3 here, because we've got a fast flank coming in from Device. Will he just catch Mo? No, he's just a little bit too slow there, but he is in a very good position already. He can get onto this tunnel spot very quickly. Let's see if he's going to best Mo. Mo not looking in the right spot. Device will easily pick up that frag, and now that's a big problem for Gambit, who have to worry about all 3 openings. Adren will turn quickly to deal with Device, and Zipex and Hooch will clean up Dupree for the round there. And honestly, the fact that Gambit didn't try to go for the wallbang or the Molotov on the boost position in mid, why are the teams not doing that when they go? I mean, I guess perhaps they just want to keep their contact play, playing that greedy. They want to announce themselves as late as possible, but still.
Yeah, you can spray one box with the AK, and you're going to shoot them in the head.
Yeah.
If they're crouching, like you can just spray the box with an AK. I think I'll put it on Twitter later or something. But let's not forget, also Adren is a very important player for Gambit. I mean, obviously the AWP can often take the starlight away from the rest of the players, but the clutch king with 100 ping, as I like to call him, since he normally plays in Kazakhstan, although I think he has moved now. When he's on land, going to be even more dangerous. Carrigan going aggressive towards short at the moment. Going for a bit of a pot shot there. Spades is vulnerable, actually, to an angle. But Carrigan's gone passive now. Again, this is an eco from Astralis. And they haven't had a huge purchase in terms of pistols. Dupree, a bit notorious with his deagle. One person to look out for on this eco round here. And he has a nice position. Bit of an off angle, not a usual position you see there. Often you'll find somebody Very good. There we go. Dupree getting off to a good start. They know where he's now. They've got the numbers, but they're stuck in the choke point. They need to move on to the site there to make sure they can limit the damage he can do, and indeed he gets taken down. So that's the big gun out of the way. Carrigan going straight through the smoke. Hooch is almost on the site alone here, but Spaze will hold things down from the car position. So things should calm down now with Device over towards A, being the last man standing here for Astralis. But just to go back to Dupree's position, standing on the boxes, the normal places you clear out, one of them will be between the boxes to the left of it, the kind of double stack plant, and then over towards the window. So nice off angle being held, gives him an extra half a second to get a headshot there for his team.
So it's the easy start here for Gambit. Astralis not with too many opportunities on their buys just yet, but now comes the next one, and they'll be able to pick up whatever they want as they have the max loss bonus of $3,400, and that's going to mean that they're going to be on. It seems just actually one up. Of course, you can always see potential for a double up with this team, but interestingly, it's going to be Carrigan. And you know, normally you'd see Carrigan obviously taking the AWP more on the T sides, actually on Dust2, as opposed to the CT side. It would usually be Device more often than not, but we'll have to hold that thought because we have a quick play from the Gambit side straight into long. It's Dozier leading the charge, and there is a contestation here from the Danish players. They're trying to push the smoke, and it's not working out for them. It's a bit of a trade, and now Dozier could perhaps capitalize because Zipex is out in the open. He's going to get the frag as he falls back to safety. Brilliant result there for Astralis. And that's going to put them ahead quite significantly, but there is still a lot of time for Gambit to play with.
Well, they don't have the numbers though. Mo's going to get his head taken off by Carrigan. Hooch has jumped into the pit now. He was playing with the AWP in the warm-up, so we'll see if that pays off for him should Astralis choose to peek. Big advantages here, 4 versus 2 at the moment, 2 per site, and they'll keep the second player on each site to just look for any flanks from long through mid doors as well. Glaive keeping an eye on that, but Dupree's got a bit of an off angle in B, which will compromise Glaive's position towards the window, so he'll have to take a more passive position because he won't be covered by his teammate. And that's going to lead him to actually walk towards mid in isolation. So I wonder if he's going to overextend here because his shadow's going to be showing. Adren doesn't see it though in time, and he's going to get taken down 4 versus 1. Now that was an opening for Adren with the shadow, but he can't capitalize on it, and that's the first round on the board here for Astralis.
And that's pretty much the best way in how you should respond in a situation where Astralis, they've lost so many rounds in a row, and then finally when they do get that win, they only lose a single player, which means that they're going to have a bit more flexibility in the future rounds to lose players and still have decent buys and not be too limited in having to make a call. Oh, do I buy the AWP with no armor, or do I get the M4 with some grenades? And just awkward decisions like that. You never want to be in that position on the CT side of Dust2 here on on this best of 1 format. So we have another default coming in from Gambit, and so far we are seeing just generally quite passive play from Astralis, and this is generally a tendency you're going to see from a team that really definitely considers themselves much better than their opponent, and Astralis should have that feeling against a team like Gambit. You saw how the opinion was on the desk as well, and that's because you want to keep things consistent. You don't need to take too many risks against a team that you think is worse than you, and you just play those fundamentals, and it looks like Gambit are going to be testing potentially this A defense, because there's no one towards B really for them here.
Oh man, that's almost 100 damage across 2 players there. Very nice meaty nade by Zipex, and indeed, there's no split possible. It's just 5 men for Gambit, all charging the site together. Counter flashes coming in from the CTs. They've got that Fnatic smoke coming up top mid to stop the AWPers being over towards the car position. Dozier jumps down late, but he's going to get taken down by Zipex, and Carrigan's over towards long actually. So let's see where they choose to plant the bomb. Space getting taken down now. 5 versus 3 retake coming in here for Astralis.
And this is a perfect reaction from Astralis. Give up the bomb site, let them plant, just take long and go for the retake from CT and potentially catwalk depending on your positioning. And they've gone for pretty much everyone towards CT. Already we're having problems with Gambit. We need a big individual display. Adren's the first man to step up there, takes down Dupree. And Mo's in a good position with the AWP. Although that said, now that he's been discovered, Carrigan's going to easily take him down by Gandalf. Now it's just down to Hooch and Adren. Things are getting very awkward. There are Danes flooding all over the bomb site at the moment, looking for that defuse, holding it onto Glaive, and Adren cannot get there in time, wouldn't even have had the angle, and that's going to be the round there for Astralis. Again, surviving with 4 players, punishing Gambit for taking everybody up catwalk and having no one pressuring long.
That was a very small percentage rotation by Adren. considering the bomb was planted for short and he's going towards long.
Yeah.
I think he's banking on his teammate being alive over towards short so they can kind of squeeze all the CTs on the site itself. But he went down far too early, and that was GG for that particular round. But there's another buy coming out for Gambit. After this buy, they're going to be, well, they don't have much in the bank, but their loss bonus is starting to creep up. So we'll see what they choose to do. Should they lose this round? Orb continues here onto the CT side. 5 AKs for Gambit. They've got a reasonable amount of nades as well, and they're quite spread out over the map. And again, Adren looking for an opening over towards B, looking in the usual spots. Not getting anything though, and he'll escape before getting taken down.
And it's, again, you know, just standard stuff, standard setups here from Astralis. And so far, honestly, it's been working out pretty well, surviving 4 players 2 rounds in a row, like building a lot of money due to that fact. And Gambit perhaps thinking about a different approach here. We're not seeing such a heavy presence on Catwalk at the moment. We've got Hooch up there in upper dark. You can watch for any pushes, but also keep any possibility towards, you know, B play alive. And one thing Gambit could try to do is try to make it kind of look like an A play, get a lot of pressure in, toss in a couple smoke grenades, try to sell it, drop into CT spawn, and go for the cat drop play into the B bomb site to try to really test Astralis and cut off those players on the A side, slow down their rotation. And it doesn't look like we will get a B split here in the end from Gambit, but how successful will it be? You've got Doge and Adren making their way up mid now, and it's our problem. Zipex is there.
Glaive is doing work around the smoke in the site as well, but he's gone down finally. Man advantage here for Astralis, but they're quite out of position, so it would be maybe suicide for Zipex to try and run in and get a 1v1 while a bomb gets planted here. But while Gambit waits, then he's going to have teammates coming in for support. But indeed, the bomb will go down here. Adren might choose to be aggressive here, which wouldn't be a bad idea considering they're outnumbered. That's a very nice play there from Gambit, leaving Device alone now versus 2. Has a Molotov to try and split up these 2 players, but there's not a lot he can do here. That's a very nice headshot by Device. Another one as well. What an insane clutch. Got to wait for the flames, wait for the flames. Wait for the flames. He's got 13 HP. Very nice retake there by Device on his own. Good play by Gambit, even better by Device.
Yeah, I have to say I absolutely love how Gambit actually pushed the window and the door together there. I mean, obviously, it almost felt like Adren was going for a bit of a solo play, but in the end, you know, his teammate Space was really on point in sort of understanding exactly the movement of how Adren was playing. Because that might not be a kind of a spot where Adren can call it in time and say, oh, I'm going to go for this. I got, you know, he's going on the gut instinct. I got to push now. I see an opening, and Space was just in tune with that, which was really cool to see from Gambit. But it's that clutch from Device, and he was, of course, mentioned on the desk to be one of the more underrated sort of top star players.
The important thing is that Gambit got the bomb down. For the T side at least. So that allows them to get another buy back in here. Adren caught with a nade in his hand by Dupree. Very cheeky push, and there's no response here from Gambit.
Yeah, the first aggression we've seen from Astralis, and they've done it now that they have more economic security, and Device is in a great position here to do some damage, but it's Mo who gets the much-needed frag there, able to take him down very swiftly, and that was a response that Gambit needed. They lost a player early in mid, they needed to get something back, and they did, and they still have lots of time to play with as well.
Yeah, speaking of responses, Dupree's instantly thrown a smoke over towards the short position and tried to hold it down because they've lost long, but he doesn't have much to work with right here, so he's in a bit of a precarious situation, and once that smoke disappears, he may be forced to go back to the A site. So if Gambit play the clock correctly, then they might be in for a very interesting split here. You can see Dupree's in a bit of an awkward situation here, and it seems he might go for the kind of the cat drop situation where you might see an AWP play just to try and save himself from going down for his team. 45 seconds left. Zipex is in a position where maybe he can try and go for a fast flank. It does have inherent risks, but there is another smoke onto short. Very timely as well.
Yeah, this is a smart play from Astralis, and Dupree, he knows he can take a bit of a risk here because he has a man in who can flank quickly, and there it is. Dupree's getting pushed. There's not too much he can do here, but Gambit might think that it's a little bit more safe than it is. Carrigan's there with the AWP. He's got to connect something. There is the first hit, and the second. Carrigan is doing a wonderful job there on the bomb side, able to turn around, but Glaive is going to beat him to the punch and take down Mo, and really nicely done from Astralis, also from a strategical standpoint, because instead of just stacking 2 to a bomb site like most teams do, they put 3 towards A, which if you are going for the standard stack 2 to a bomb site, A is the easiest site to attack from the T's perspective. So Astralis were kind of banking on Gambit taking what is in theory the easier option, and well, they pulled it off wonderfully.
Yeah, one of the strongest parts of the Astralis side is decision-making. They put Zipex in a strong position to go for a fast rotation to support his teammates. That's exactly what happened. Came in from the back, took down the final play for Karrigan. Very nice stuff. Surviving numbers as well. And now the money's finally disappeared for Gambit. Karrigan taking pot shots. He's missing the shots, but he's getting information for his team. The A guys know what to expect. Playing the ranges now. Zipex on the site itself with a teammate coming in from long, but still no kills. And now things are getting dangerous. The bomb should get planted here on the short position. And there we go. Zipex gets traded. Can any weapons be picked up there? The numbers are disappearing very quickly indeed, but for the investment Gambit have made, this is they've got a bomb down. So worst case scenario is being ticked off. Dupree heavily tagged as well. Hooch running around blind around the flames as 4 HP gets taken down as well. Another round on the board here for Astralis.
Yeah, and that's 4 rounds lost in a row for Gambit already, and this is going to be the 5th one. So that's going to be $4,200 for Gambit, combined with the extra $800 they get for each player with the bomb down. So that's obviously a really nice situation for Gambit. They really make sure that they can get absolutely everything that they want. And the start that was so good for them, as soon as Astralis got those first couple rounds where they only lost 1 player in each of those rounds, and they had some economic security, you know, we've been seeing a lot of cool stuff from Astralis, kind of conservative risk taking, where we had that push from Dupree down short. That was really nice to see. And now I'm curious when they'll be going for plays like that, because often you can see Device going on catwalk, and we might actually have a boost there. And in fact, that's exactly what's going to happen. But normally, what you would see is him with the AWP, and maybe he'd be playing it alone or getting boosted. So different setups here from Astralis. That's what we normally see, and maybe even an upper dark push here, so lots of aggression potentially to take middle away from Gambit from the CT side of Astralis, but Adren is ready for it. First frag made in defense, and that's going to stop the play from Astralis.
Very nice stuff there. It was nice support structure for the AWP from Astralis, but didn't work out. Adren was ready and waiting for it. No response from Astralis. And, you know, he could have hunted the frag there, but that might have been an overextension. That might have been a loss of the round. Now we see there's a fight for short here. Device blocking through the smoke, and oh, there's 4 behind him. How many can he spray down? 1, 2. That is a lot of damage done, and his team is right back in this, despite being at a man disadvantage.
So the clutch needs to be made at this point. Gambit has some really good positions. Look at this one. Adren is in a very nice off angle, although there's not so much margin for error. And he's going to have to try to get out of there. He can't do it in time. Glaive able to easily take him down as he's caught mid-jump. And now it's down to Dozier and Space. The flank needed to do something. And now Astralis have a good position to mount an attack from, although there's grenades, there's smoke grenades, so really posing issue, but Glaive's going to be able to throw a nade through, take the frag onto Space, and now Dozier is in the clutch position. There's the first one. Here comes Glaive. There's not much time left on that bomb, and Dozier easily capitalizes on the desperation, the lack of time there for Glaive to make a play. And that is another round for Gambit. Finally breaking Astralis a little bit after a 5-loss streak, but there's still plenty of cash to go to for the Danish side.
Indeed, and we'll see. It's going to be a reasonable buy for both teams here. AWP finally comes back out here for Gambit, which is going to be one difference between these rounds where both have been on a buy. They've been on 5 AKs for a few rounds here, but now they've got the man where he needs to be with the big green gun there. So we have a standard take of long from Astralis at the moment. Everything as it should be, but Adren's moving very fast down the middle area, and you have to wonder if he's going to go for a Cloud9-esque charge through the doors. Not just yet. Now, it seems that Astralis might have a read of a play towards A as they're leaving Dupree all alone over towards the B-bomb site. Again, Glaive is in a position where maybe he gets boosted by Zipex if he rotates on there later on. And indeed, Adren is going to go hunting towards that middle area, just try and poke and prod, suggest, try and pull a rotation here for these CTs and weaken a spot they might want to exploit.
Yeah, Gambit with all that presence, and where can they find that spot to exploit? There doesn't seem to be much in the way of holes at the moment for Astralis. Again, they're just keeping it pretty safe overall. I mean, we've seen very limited risk-taking, and it looks like Gambit, once again, thinking of just going for a 5-man push almost, although it looks like just 4 men through the tunnels, through that one choke point. And with 2 players playing B like this, it's quite dangerous. But if they're able to get that entry quickly, the rotation is quite far away for Astralis, all the way from the A bomb site. So that's kind of the name of the game here. They've got to get the entries fast, but if Glaive and Dupree can get a couple frags, it might be all over for Gambit. Here they come, straight into the defense. Glaive gets the first one, and that's exactly what Gambit needed. Now Astralis in a very bad position.
Yeah, Device is looking for a big flank on Adren, who's staying in the tunnel here. So this is difficult for Astralis, and they've chosen to save. They know they are out of position here on a chessboard, and they're going to move away to the long area. So good decision-making there from Astralis. And it seems Gambit want to give Astralis minimal time to to make those strong decisions and counter them. They don't want to give them warnings just walking into the B bombs like that, and that's quite, you know, has inherent risks. They're walking through a funnel basically, and there's only you can only get out there so fast with so many bodies. You know, it's a bit fish in the barrel. You saw the M4A4 spray there through the smoke, perhaps expecting that, but Gambit waited long enough, and they got the picks when they needed them. So Astralis will save 3 weapons going into the next round, which is important because their money was somewhat ruined after coming in for that buy. So now they can drop for their other teammates. But Glaive has enough to buy on his own. Karrigan can drop a rifle, and they should be good to go.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing, indeed, that you don't really want to rely on players like that. It is quite risky. Sometimes everyone can just die. I mean, you can just get a couple double kills from those defenders. It's hard to say what's going to happen, but you know, they needed to make a bit of a risky play, and already having so many rounds on the board because of that strong start, they're obviously feeling quite comfortable to be able to take risks like that, and it's worked out quite wonderfully. They just have to break Astralis now, and it's just one more round to do that, but let's see if they can do it. Once again, it's a bit of a default opening from them, just taking as much space as they can that is uncontested. And just trying to get the feelers out there. But we have 2 players in mid here for Astralis, so they could potentially go for a little bit of aggression there, or try to bait some Gambit players out and try to play the trades. And there it is. There's the meeting of the minds. Space jumps up on the Xbox, trying to get up to Catwalk without a smoke to help him. And Glaive punishes, but Glaive needs to get out of there safely. Just barely making it happen, though. Gets tagged on the way out, down to 11 HP, and back into that anti-B split boost on CT spawn.
So Hooch is outside long holding a smoke at the moment. Now he's moving away, so I'm wondering what the plan is here for Gambit. Dozier has been around the long doors for a really long time, so do wonder if a late split is going to be attempted here. Again, 2 players in spawn here for the CT side. Karrigan just going to go and re-smoke long doors as well, which will slow things down. That's really important. Something that people may underestimate is Karrigan's position, not just as an AWPer, but as a nade support for long and for site players. But we'll get back to that later. Bit of prodding towards long there. Again, trying to pull the rotation maybe, but there are 2 players on short for Gambit. And they need to get picks here. They've still got a man disadvantage. There's nothing really going for them at the moment, and they're running out of time. Almost 20 seconds here to go for a full push towards A with no picks whatsoever.
And it's starting to happen. They get the opening onto long. That's an important one, especially because Karrigan misses the shot. He's in a lot of trouble, and Mo's going to catch him, and it's going to be a very desperate situation. Now made worse by Adren's drop straight into CT, but he won't spot Glaive in time. But it's still going to be tough here because there's no time to plant the bomb. Oh my goodness, that is so disappointing there for Gambit.
That's a massive problem. Adren jumped into CT spawn thinking it was safe on the site, but the bomb carrier was basically had nobody close enough to him. He got taken down. Mo couldn't get there fast enough to plant the bomb, and they lose by timeout. But it was, I don't think it was very good time management in general by Gambit, so maybe it's just desserts in that regard. Even so, it's going to be a bit of a weird buy coming out for Astralis. We see the UMP coming out onto Glaive now. So a difficult round, but it managed to survive the Astralis by pure virtue of not allowing them to get picked by Gambit, who was seemingly waiting for that opening, especially being a man down. But again, if I have a few seconds here, Karrigan's position rotating between long and the site on over towards A. Not just as an AWPer, but as a grenade guy, he can offer flash support for device over towards long, and as Zepex if he's playing on A plat or Goose, and obviously having that late smoke for his teammates as well while he's holding the angle. Really important things as well as the AWPing itself.
And one thing right now that Astralis are doing, this is a play that they actually kind of started doing first, where you put 3 people towards B, kind of hide Zepex by the boxes just outside the doors, and you kind of make it look like you're playing a 2-3 setup. So you've got 3 on A, which will encourage a B split, and that's obviously what Astralis want in this situation. They do this kind of stuff. They're the first team to actually, instead of playing aggression when they have a low utility and low weapons, what they would do instead is they will try to trick you on the information to force you to go where they have more players. And that was one of the things that made them one of the strongest Dust2 teams for a while. But looks like the correct choice has been made here by Gambit, despite not really picking up a huge amount of information. They just go for that blind A play, all up catwalk again, and this time it's going to work out perfectly because there's no one to defend. Astralis' gamble has failed.
Carrigan instantly pushes through T doors, long doors to see what's going on, and there's absolutely nobody there, but he seemingly can't believe it. Just looking around to see if there's anybody in CT spawn. Meanwhile, Gambit with a strong hold on the short position. As far as they're concerned, the CTs are in control of long, so they're waiting for that push to come in and putting all the bodies towards short to make sure they don't get pinched by the CTs once again. And perhaps realizing there is a save here for the last round, they're going to go on the hunt for the remaining Astralis players now. So 8-6 is going to be the score here moving into the last round. And again, no AWP was very painful for Astralis in this round. They took a gamble towards B. Gambit didn't bite. Now that puts them in a good position for the last round.
And the cool thing, well, the interesting thing for me about that, the choice there for Astralis as well, going for that the 3-2 in the way that they did, is that that's a strategy that kind of only is supposed to really be good against teams that do a lot of information plays with their T-side defaults. And Gambit haven't actually shown that they're one of those teams at all in this match. Most of their plays have been somewhat blind. They haven't reacted a lot to Astralis, just kind of trying to dictate things without too much information. So interesting that they went for that strategy in the end. But either way, we're going to see, again, Gambit just opening up with their default again, and Astralis with that terrible buy. Not offering an aggressive play early on, offering, in fact, a very standard setup that you would often see them play with the full rifles.
Yeah, you've got Device trying to hold down short on his own with a UMP, Glaive down to the 5-7, so definitely difficulties here for the Astralis side. Again, these smokes will be their best friend. One of the better teams at holding smokes for as long as possible. We saw that when Inferno was in the active duty map pool. They were really good at holding down the B-bomb site with those super late smokes there. But that's almost all they have to work with on this occasion. So Carrigan on his own is going to have a Gambit welcoming party raining on his parade, perhaps. Ooh, very nice attempt there by Dozier. Going to go all the way, but Carrigan's going to win the duel here. Very good start, but he's got no support, and he's surely going to go down there. SFX coming in for a bit of support, takes down another Gambit player, so 2 for 2 now finally. Carrigan gets taken down. You see the rotation coming in for the CTs here, but then trying to duel towards the middle area. Moving into a more passive position, nice headshot. Gives himself a 1 versus 1, using the structures around the map here to stop getting pinched by these CTs, but they'll finally come in and bring it down to 2 apiece.
Yeah, 2 versus 2, that's very doable. Glaive even has a defuse kit, so there's a real possibility. Device needs to win his 1 versus 1, of course, from long, and here he goes. It's going to be Mo, though, with the Tech 9. He's a bit faster on that engagement, and now it's down to Glaive. He is the man with the kit, of course. So there is that. That gives him a little bit of extra time. And he's worked out where Hooch is. And he knows where the other player is. He knows the other player's on long as well. So Glaive's trying to get that free frag here, but it's not quite going his way. And a bit of a reposition there. Very smart from Hooch finding the timing. And now Mo's been discovered. With the AWP, this surely makes things impossible for Glaive. And Mo will gun him down as he tries to make his way onto the bomb site. So that is a 9-6 first half from Gambit, who had that 5-round strong start, which is brilliant for them. They really needed a start like this against a team like Astralis.
So Astralis move into the second half with a 3-round deficit. We'll see if they can bring it back after this break. Gambit off to a 5-round lead, shortly answered back from 5 rounds from Astralis, but then Gambit close out most of the remaining rounds to lead 9-6 going into the second half. Again, being a best of 1, are you a bit concerned for Astralis, who should be the favourite for this match?
Yeah, I think their CT side has often been a hallmark of their Dust2 play, and with Gambit having such a strong start, they were able to stop Astralis building the kind of lead that we all know is possible for them on the CT side, and instead they'll be tested on that T side. And of course, you know, with Kirby obviously not being able to be with the team, you know, they do have Glaive playing instead, and of course they'll be quite familiar with Glaive in the past. He's a pretty old school Danish player as well. But the one thing that I'm really looking forward to about Astralis' T side is actually the potential for the AWP shenanigans from Carrigan, because aggressively, something that he used to stylistically do on the team was he would pick up the AWP on the T sides specifically to open certain areas up. Like, for example, we might see him push the double doors with it and AWPing in towards CT spawn and in towards the B-bomb site with the AWP. And those kinds of engagements was something that he was very good at, and that could really help Astralis here. But we'll have to see, because a lot has changed in the team since those days.
Indeed, Carrigan is an outstanding can opener with the AWP on the T side of this map, but they'll have to get the economy first, and first they'll start with the pistol here. Gambit being successful with the pistol in the first half. Can they make it 2 for 2? That would be huge for them if they could achieve that. Adren going for a very fast short push to support Hooch in this position, and he's going to continue to creep here. 3 Astralis players over towards B, which is favourable for Adren, meaning he can get himself a 1 versus 1, tagging Zipex. Zipex in trouble now, and there's a long push coming in for the CTs as well. Zipex gets taken down. What will the response be here for Astralis?
Yeah, this is looking pretty desperate at the moment, but Device is able to sneakily find that frag onto Adren, but Mo's still lurking around as well. This is getting a little bit weird, and Astralis, they have the bomb towards B at the moment, but if they go into B, they are surely screwed. There's 3 Gambit players there, and now they've lost Device as well in middle. So 2 versus 4 here for the Danish side as they go for the reposition, look for them, that maneuver into that A bomb site, and it will be a 2 versus 2 against the superior USPs, and we get a frag straight back from Dupree though. He's got to collect the bomb and plant it soon. If Mo can just delay him, his teammates, 2 extra teammates, sorry, from B are going to get in position and backstab Dupree. This is really bad right now. I have no idea how Dupree's going to find his way out of this situation.
He needs nothing but headshots here. There's the first one. He's got 2 more to find. Now he can get himself to 1 versus 1 to the boxes here. Spades trying to shut things down here, but Dupree, he's got to go fast because Mo's closing the distance. There's almost a pitch the movement, and indeed Mo will finish things off there. There was great potential for Dupree, but it was too much to ask on this occasion. And it will be 2 for 2 here. Gambit going to 10 rounds, double figures now. And now there's a question for Astralis. Are they happy to wait that 1 round and pick up the AKs here, or will they go for a fourth buy, fearing that maybe Gambit have taken the lead too far already?
I think the AKs for sure. I think actually getting the bomb down that way, of course, it's more ideal to win the pistol round and start with a better economy. But I feel like Astralis are a team that will be very confident with those AKs, and they know that they'll have the weapon advantage too in that 3rd round into the second half. So it could be quite a nice spot for them to reset Gambit straight away. So all is not lost yet for Astralis, thanks to getting the bomb down, which almost didn't happen. So they will have to just be thankful for that. And we'll have to see if Astralis can get any kills here to pressure the economy of their opponents, as that nade will miss completely. Dren, though, in a great position, more or less. Combining with Mo, the scout in middle. So things looking pretty good here. And slowly but surely, we're starting to see all the Danish players being cleaned up.
It is a bit fiddly from Adren's position to headshot people who are crouching, bobbing up and down on the Xbox. But only losing 1 player, Gambit will be quite happy with that. All their players opting for full armor, obviously, which is always important. There was a match recently where someone didn't. I think it was Stewie, wasn't it? It was Stewie who didn't have a helmet in that round, and then got wrecked.
But one thing here is that Gambit, they're playing Dust2, right? And they know the AKs are very likely coming out, and we see, you know, the MP9s and scouts and so on. And they know that the MP9 is coming out. Sorry, the AKs are coming out against the MP9 and the Scout. So there's a really big advantage in that sense for Astralis on how they can play some of the ranges and open spaces on this map.
Well, Hooch and Adren, again, dynamic duo, it seems. That nade will be a bit of a giveaway towards short, but I can't imagine they're going to expect Hooch coming in at short range here with the MP9. But there's a 2-man, so maybe they were expecting it after all. And the aggression from Gambit falling to pieces here. Not many numbers left. The only one with a primary rifle, I would say, is Adren in this situation. could argue Dozier as well. So how much damage can Gambit do? We know they're going to be buying in the following rounds. Adrenaline with 2 frags so far, actually. This is interesting. Dozier playing around the smoke. This could still go the way of Gambit now. Through the smoke, Dozier, what's going on?
That is going to feel quite frustrating for Device. Nothing you can do about that. And now Mo takes down Glaive. And things are awkward for Zipex. 1 versus 3, but he has a minute to play with and an AK-47. So this is, and a smoke as well. So there's a lot of ways for him to get onto a bomb site with the smoke. But he's looking to get the frag first. He gets tagged by the scout, and that's probably one of the worst engagements that he can find himself in. You know, 1 versus 1 against a scout. I mean, you could definitely sense that he was hungry to try to get a frag very quickly. Because obviously, if he turns it into a 1 versus 1 before he's picked a bomb site, then the CTs are in a it's much harder to play that position than obviously he picks a bomb site, tries to plant, and then everyone can come in and rotate and play 3 versus 1 or something. So he's really going to win the round there. And Astralis are in troubles right now because they are 6 rounds behind, and Gambit are going to build a very good economy.
They are in very deep waters indeed. Device, the only man with a deagle in this situation, and he needs to go nuclear with this because they are soon to be 7 rounds behind. If they can't get some work done, there's a nice dink onto Dozier, gets his bell rung towards the long doors position, and if they can pick up his weapon there, then there might be trouble ahead for Gambit. Nice nade coming in though, Glaive will get taken out, and there's nobody left towards long, which is going to give Dozier a bit of a range advantage, but they're all headed towards short, so he may get taken down nonetheless. And funnily enough, it seems they're rotating Dozier away from the long position, so that gun isn't isolated, putting a Dren there, but that means he's running straight into the weapons, and there down he goes to Zipex there, the bomb getting planted as well.
Yeah, beautiful result from Astralis with the run boost. Mo is cleaning up though. 3 quick kills, although he will go down, and in the end, that's a bomb plant and 2 frags, which with the investment of Astralis is that, again, a really brilliant result. And obviously, they are a lot of rounds behind, but this is going to be at least something for them to try to get back into this one with. But the thing is they can't really put a foot wrong at this point because Gambit are a mere 3 rounds away. So Astralis have to get it done immediately. If they were to win a round and then lose one, then they're pretty much out of this one because they just won't have any money from that point forward. So Astralis have to make it happen with a really big string of rounds, and maybe we need to see that opening from Carrigan that we were talking about earlier, and opening up the map, get those mid pushes going.
Yeah, it's now or never for Astralis in this particular round. I think I would say at the beginning of this day that for me, I would say Astralis or SK would be likely to win, but maybe not. Dan, if they lose this match to Gambit, we will see Carrigan getting tagged, as you see, at the beginning of the round here. So that's going to make life a little bit more difficult. Glaive and Dupree looking around the mid doors, but not committing to a bit of a peek just yet. Zipex outside long, where Dozier is. Mo going to re-smoke, just as Carrigan was doing when he was the AWPer on the CT side. So see some similar things there. Adren is playing, not in the boost position, but he is playing in CT spawn for the time being. Looking somewhat static for now. Astralis still with a minute on the clock here.
So this is where maybe we could start to see some can opening as we start to just basically define it by from Carrigan, because he's on the AWP, he's in position by Catwalk. We're going to see the drop now coming in as they try to pressure into A, and the Trend's in a beautiful position here. Pot flashes and the Incendiary even going through there, and he's going to try to push with this, and he's also going to see, because of that the push on towards the B split's not really happening, and oh, that is disastrous. Adren with both kills. Glaive and Carrigan are dead, leaving just Zipex at this point. This is catastrophic from Astralis. I don't even know where it's all falling apart for them. Zipex is left in a 1 versus 4. He's at least by the doorway here, which is... I mean, he could have tried to get in there, but he would have been against 4 players. So he looks like he realized, all right, I can't really win this round. Maybe I can save this AK. Not even that. An impossible situation for him to play from. And 14-6 now. If Astralis were to lose this best of 1 with this kind of a scoreline, I don't even know what to think.
Adren, the clutch king with 100 ping, currently 22 for 13 in this match. That's really good stuff. We see the pause. One would assume it's tactical coming in for Astralis at the moment. But is it too little too late? They have money to buy in this round, and indeed a buy is coming in. We see AWPs, well, an AWP being picked up for Carrigan. But I mean, the Astralis have never really got anything going in this half yet. They haven't won a single round.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's obviously a lot of issues in in the way that that strategy went in the last round in the execution, just the first frag being missed by Dupree when he drops in against the Dren. And it's a hard one because actually, if, when you're landing, you get inaccuracy. You get inaccuracy when you jump and when you land, and it decays in between. So obviously in that 1 versus 1 with the Dren, it's just he's expecting it. You're going to have the disadvantage. So he loses that one, then the Dren with the 2 kills straight away in middle. That's where the round is then lost. So again, as you mentioned, the Dren with that performance really paying off in the key rounds. And Astralis, what do they go to? Because individually, we're not really seeing any single player stepping up massively. In fact, it's the stand-in right now, Glaive, who's got the most kills. And Carrigan's not been able to have much impact with the AWP. So who do they go to? I mean, do they go to Dupree then to try to get some more clean entries? At this point, it's hard to say.
8th round lead for Gambit, 2 rounds away from an unlikely or unexpected victory over Astralis, who have 30 seconds left of their timeout to figure out what they can do to minimize their losses going forward, because it's just 2 rounds needed for Gambit at this point, who are looking really, really good. And again, Adren and Mo going nuclear at the moment. That's always good to see for the Gambit side. Been in good spirits, been hanging out with Hooch in the spa in the hotel. Really nice guy. Everybody's in good spirits, really, at this major, which is great to see.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Astralis back. Well, the unpause is finished now, so we will soon find out if they can get their first round on the board. And I feel like the way things have gone in the second half, you have to go back to that round where they had at least a 2-man, and maybe it was even 3, advantage, and then Dozy got the shot through the smoke, and they just lost people all over the place and somehow lost the round. Anyway, 8-round lead for Gambit. As we see Jaws, this time at Space, who's going to get tagged through the double doors, as opposed to Carrigan.
And with all that mid presence, I do wonder if we might see some more long pressure, like the delayed long takes coming in from Astralis, as we actually get a very fast pace from Glaive straight up the catwalk area there, and he's going to spot that that's clear. And usually that suggests that, okay, it's going to be very likely a 2-3 setup, especially if you've seen that 1 AWPer in middle, then that's most likely what it's going to be looking like. And Mo has rotated back towards A. They don't have anybody in CT spawn. This would be a great round for Astralis to go for a B split, just because the rotation from A is very far away. So if you get the pace in there, then it's hard for the CT side to stop. But Astralis have to work that out, and that's kind of the hard part. And some teams, because that can be so hard, they would just go for the blind play and try to get some success with a gamble. And it looks like we will get the grenades there, indicating the B split. Yeah, from Astralis.
There isn't much utility for Astralis to play with at the moment. And I want to say that Hooch did a pop flash off the corner of the wall, which would have given his position away, because they can hear that sound cue, and that might be information they're playing on. So that might have identified the setup of the CTs here for Astralis. We'll see if they can exploit that. They're putting the numbers towards those middle doors at the moment, but there are 2 players here from the B bomb side to try and hold things down. Not going to work out, though, in the first part. Hooch now has 2 more to find. It's 1v1 versus Glaive, but he can't win it. So that's the B bomb site open now for Astralis. 4 players still alive for them.
And the B split has worked. And Dupree's in that 4th position. They should expect that to be somewhere, but it's hard to know exactly where he's going to be. A 1-for-1 trade, that's actually going to be wonderful for Astralis in this position already with the man advantage, putting Gambit in a pretty awkward spot. But that said, Gambit have a lot of rounds and a lot of money, so they should absolutely go with this. Even if it's going to be like a 10% chance for them to win the round, they should absolutely go for it. Dozia is going to be taking down Carrigan in tunnels, so now things are getting really awkward. Mo is going to enter the bomb site with an easy entry, and that is disastrous. Gambit, with a disadvantage, just waltzing in there and casually removing the Astralis defenders. That shouldn't have happened in that manner. I mean, if Gambit were going to win it, it should have looked a lot tougher, and now they're on match point.
Dozier, ex-God, taking his team to match point, Dan. 9 rounds ahead of Astralis, who managed to eke out another bye purely because they're on max loss bonus. They have not won a single round on their T side so far, and maybe they won't. We will find out. Again, they're going to be somewhat limited on the grenades here. They might have a bit more than they had in the previous round, but we'll see if they can do anything useful with them. Again, there's no AWP here for the T side. Not that much has happened with it anyway. 5 AKs for them. Again, they're going to go for a fast play here towards the long area. Much damage taken, though, and Carrigan's going to get dispatched off by the HE. Dupree goes down as well. No answer by Astralis.
Yeah, they're getting outclassed individually at the moment, which is not something you would necessarily expect. Obviously, Gambit has a lot of great players, but Astralis is supposed to be the cream of the crop, and right now that crop is failing. And here goes Glaive, looking to try to get some information into the double doors. There is that smoke down there, which makes life a little bit awkward. And operating from a 2-man deficit and with, well, at this point, 2 grenades, one of which is a smoke. They have a lot of issues. Going for that B play, the smartest one, and the bomb is now in middle. It's been spotted as well. The rotation will be in order now for Gambit as they send 2 men from long. So there is the clock on Astralis, not just the round timer, but the time it takes for the flank to arrive into this B bomb site.
So down goes Spades, and that's the open bomb site. There's a chance for Astralis, but it's a limited one. And they've got to cross, and Mo is holding the angle there. Takes a pot shot. Zipix doesn't get killed, though. Another plant comes in with the man advantage. Dozier could choose to push, and he's going to do exactly that. Takes down the Device first. Zipix on his own now, gets his bell rung, and gets finished off. 16-6, the bomb will be defused, and Astralis will lose the first match of the day versus Gambit.
And you can see these guys are absolutely elated. There's a great performance from them individually, and they had a good T side against Astralis, who you expect to see strong CT sides from. But just generally, when Astralis were able to reach that T side, dictate the pace, run their strategies, they weren't hitting their shots, and that is very surprising to see.
Yeah, both pistols won by Gambit made life very, very hard for Astralis, who got all their rounds on the CT side, their 6 rounds, not a single round won. But again, just going back to that round, maybe the desk will look at it later, where they had a significant advantage. I think it was 3 versus 5, maybe worse than that, but they couldn't take that one over the line, and then the cards continued to tumble for them. Very solid performance by Gambit. We've got to give them a credit as well. But anyway, we'll go to a short break and then see what the desk think about it afterwards. See you soon.